Okay, you know what time is coming up, right?
What's that?
It's spring, summer, blockbuster movie season.
Yay.
And you know what that means.
That means going to the theater, actually, and seeing shows in the theater.
Exactly. And you know what that means.
Eating lots of really inappropriate things while you're watching the movie.
Okay, so what's your indulgence? What's your movie indulgence?
Okay, here's my feeling about popcorn. Popcorn smells so good when you walk into the theater. There's something about walking into a theater and smelling all the popcorn. I have learned as an adult that it doesn't taste as good as it smells to me. It's always just a little bit of a letdown. So I'm just a Twizzlers and Diet Coke guy, which is not good for me. It's just, and why a Diet Coke? I'm eating all that sugar.
Sure.
You know, I guess it's good that I'm not eating 4 times that amount of sugar by having a big sugary Coke. Yeah, that and a Diet Coke, unless I'm going to the really swanky theater downtown that I like to go to that will serve you beer or wine. Because
and waiters.
Well, not that. Yeah, I've been to one of those too. I've been to a great theater that serves you an entire meal. Like, you can go and have your dinner while you watch the movie, and every single seat's got a table in front. I love those. We don't have one of those close to where I am. But, yeah, I do enjoy the have a glass of wine with your movie. I'll always do that. Always. And that's good because it saves me from eating that huge bag of Twizzlers. What about you? What's your indulgence?
I'm movie popcorn. Sorry. I like movie butter popcorn, man. It's the buttery and grosser and greasier, the better. It is not. If I can walk down the aisle of seats without sticking to the floor, I tend to lose. I lose credibility. That theater loses credibility with me because that is part of the theater going experience. If you want everything to be clean and pristine and drink your Diet Coke, Eric, stay at home. The movie theater is not. There's no place for that. At home. No place for all this good, healthy eating.
Oh, my Twizzlers and Diet Coke is hardly good, healthy eating. But I think it's important that you say movie butter popcorn because that shit is not butter.
No, it's not. There's nothing dairy about it. So all of you who are lactose intolerant, go for it. Ain't nothing natural in that. Ain't nothing natural.
It smells good, though.
Oh, my God.
Attention. Pop surgeons Eric and Stacey, please report to Operating Room 1. Pop surgeons Eric and Stacey, please report to Operating Room 1. Surgery is about to begin.
This is POPeration. I'm Stacey.
I'm Eric, and this is one of my favorite shows we do every year.
Me too. Because I love movie trailers.
I can waste an entire evening if I don't know what to watch. If I say I'm going to sit down for some television and I don't know what to watch, and I turn on my little Apple TV thing, and I've got Netflix, and I've got Prime, and I've got Hulu, and I've got movies I can rent, I can very easily open the Trailers app and just spend hours watching trailers.
There's also on TV, on some channel, Access, AXS or whatever, sometimes they have filler, and it's a show called Nothing But Trailers. And that's all it is. It's just movie trailers. And you just sit there and you're watching trailer.
And it's weird because movie trailers are essentially just commercials.
I'm fine with it, yeah.
And yet they're really entertaining commercials.
Well, they've moved on from just a teaser to try to get you into the theater to an art form.
Yeah.
And so there are good ones and there are bad ones. And it can make or break a movie.
And sometimes they're the trailers that don't tell you enough. And all they are mood. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm seeing, so I don't want to go. And then they give you just enough, but then sometimes they go too far, and you go, I think I just saw the whole movie.
There have been several that I feel like I just saw the whole movie. I don't need to waste my money.
Yeah.
All good.
Yeah.
La la dish, as I say. So, yes, we're talking about movie trailers. So what we're going to be doing is judging these movies that are coming out this summer just by their trailers, because we have not seen any of them.
Yeah, we're not important podcasters. We don't get screeners from the studios where they send us these movies so we can watch the entire thing and tell you whether it's a good movie. We're just like you. We've seen the trailer, and this is what we're going to go see or not based on what the trailer said. And, if the trailer was funny, and we might be able to talk about the trailer as art form and critique it from that standpoint. We certainly can't talk about any of these movies because we haven't seen them either. Correct. So let's jump in, shall we?
Let's do that. Now, what I want to say is that because right now there are two big. Well, no, there's one big one that has already come out: the Avengers: Infinity War.
Okay.
So we're not going to talk about that because that's already out. There is also a movie called Tully
that I really want to see.
That is Charlize Theron. It's also out already, and that I feel like that's a little bit of an Oscar bait, award bait for Charlize. That's what it looks like. I could be wrong.
Well, Diablo Cody, who wrote Juno, also wrote this one.
Okay.
But
it's out. We're not talking about that.
No.
Okay. So the first one is Deadpool 2. I don't think that's what its name is.
Yeah, it is. It's
Deadpool 2.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what it is.
Also on this, what I want to say is that apparently Josh Brolin is in every movie this year.
2018 is just being renamed Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
Because he was in Avengers: Infinity Wars, he's in Deadpool 2, and he's in at least one more of the trailers that we're going to talk about.
Yep.
But this looks hysterical.
Okay, they had me at the poster.
The poster is very, very good.
So there's two posters I've seen. One of them recreates the whole Michelangelo, the creation of man thing, where Josh Brolin is reaching over as God and about to touch Deadpool's finger as Adam. But the one that I like even more is a Flashdance homage where he's on a chair, but instead of water, it's a rain of bullets that are kind of falling all over him. So funny.
The trailer is just one joke after another. Ryan Reynolds, now tell me what you said about
Okay, my first thought around Ryan Reynolds, the first movie, the whole time I was watching it, I just thought, what a waste of a pretty face.
He is just absolutely pretty.
He's yummy.
But at the same time, here's what I'm going to say. He is so good at delivering these lines.
Yeah.
It is like they were written for him, and maybe they were.
Well, he probably augments them as he goes in and says, I can make this funnier. Go for it.
It's just perfect.
Yep.
And every single, in my opinion, every single joke lands. But this preview, it's going to be action.
Yep.
And it's going to be funny. He's getting a team together, and they're going to be funny.
Of a bunch of X-Men characters.
Yeah, X-Men people.
If you read the comics, so they're all characters that
he breaks
Marvel,
the fourth wall at one point.
All the time.
Yeah,
he breaks the fourth wall.
And he does it in the trailer as well. It just looks like fun.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds spends most of the time behind this mask, and when he doesn't have the mask on, he's got this prosthetic makeup on to make him look like he's been through
to try to make him look ugly, and even then.
You can still tell how pretty he is. I think he's probably attracted to this for that very reason, because he's so yummy and beefcakey. I mean, it's just, I think he wants the world to know, hey, I'm also really funny, and I can also do these action things, and maybe this puts a little bit of a spotlight on that. I'm just saying,
it may be. I think it's a fun. I would enjoy this part because it's got so many funny lines.
Yeah,
but he does. It's a lot. As I said, it's everything that you want a Deadpool movie to be.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like in the trailer, and I'm in it.
So it's Marvel's comedy, franchise.
Yes.
That and Guardians of the Galaxy are kind of the two comedy, vehicles that they've got going on in this universe. At one point, Josh Brolin says something just very cutting to Deadpool, and he says, "Wow, that's dark. Are you sure you shouldn't be in the DC universe?" Which was, a little dig at Zack Snyder. Not entirely undeserved.
No, not undeserved at all, which is why it's going to land really, really well.
Yeah.
It's funny.
But it looks funny. I'm seeing it. You seeing it?
I'm totally
we're seeing it. 2 thumbs up there.
This one is like the This is so not Deadpool or in that genre.
Except it looks funny.
It does. It's called Book Club.
Uh-huh.
It has Jane Fonda, Candice Bergen,
Diane Keaton, Mary Steenburgen.
And Mary Steenburgen are these 4 women at that certain time of life. And it is them. They've got this book club, and the book club decides to read 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah. One of these women is married. I think Mary Steenburgen is the married one. And
the other ones are single, either widowed or
divorced.
We don't know because, again, it's a trailer.
But in the trailer, 3 of them start dating, and Mary Steenburgen begins to rekindle the passion in her marriage.
Here's my problem.
All due to Christian Grey.
Here's my problem. And therein lies my problem. It's a very poorly written book, 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, yeah.
So the idea that it is going to influence these women to whatever the hell it influences them to do, either to re-engage in their marriage or take that chance on love. I don't know, but I found it bullshit. When she brings out, here's the steamy book we're going to read, and it was 50 Shades. You lost all credibility with me.
And I don't understand why in cases like this, you can't just make up a steamy pot boiler.
Well, the next problem, aside from that, let's say that it was a brilliantly written book.
Okay.
Let's say that it is actually really a good book. It's from several years ago.
Yeah.
It is old. The movies that were made, 3 of them are all old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it dates itself before it even opens.
So they could have either been reading Lady Chatterley's Lover.
Thank you.
And been fanning themselves, because that gets pretty hot and steamy, and that's kind of evergreen. Or just make up a fictional book that seems brand new and say, this is the new whatever. And actually, we would believe that it was that good and that steamy and that whatever. Yeah, I mean, right away, I was just like, okay.
As soon as she brought that out, I was out, and then there were some of the lines that Jane Fonda says. I'm like, that was a little hackneyed, as far as
it looks a little sitcom-y. Although you know who looks like she comes off really well, and it is Candice Bergen. She can do some of those lines. At one point, someone's eating some ice cream, and she just grabs it and says, "Oh, leave this to a professional," and throws it away in a way that I'm like, there's some skill there.
No, well, these are all 4 very good actresses.
Yes. In fact, they list their Oscar caliber in the preview, and you're like, this is not Oscar bait. I don't know why it should matter to anyone that these women have won Oscars.
But it felt very old white woman, and that's probably who's going to go see it. And I'm pass.
Well, yeah, you're not going to go see this one.
I don't see myself seeing this.
The other comment that we made when we were watching these together, which I thought was interesting, is that the men all look younger than the women.
Yes. And I think a couple of them are younger than the women. I think
they probably are, only because, so Jane Fonda's co-star in this is Don Johnson. And when Don Johnson became a huge star, Jane Fonda had been a star for a long time. Now, Don Johnson was not 18 when Miami Vice hit. And
Let's go back. He hit it in the beginning with like A Boy and His Dog and some of this stuff in the early 70s.
Okay.
And he was young then, but understand she was doing stuff in the early 60s. So she's maybe 10 years older than him, but it looks looks like there's a bigger gap there, but they're acting like they are the same age. Mm-hmm. Whatever. Again, on the one hand, I don't really care because I'm like, get it.
I think they went to the same plastic surgeon.
Yeah. I'm like, go for it. But it really does. I think who you're going to see in there are older white women.
Yeah, it's Golden Girls turned into a movie with a little bit of sex jokes thrown in.
You're exactly right. That's it. Well done.
What's next?
So this one, here's the deal. And everybody's going to see it, and they should, and I'm going to see it because I should. Solo, a Star Wars story.
Han Solo, the prequel.
Han Solo before any of the Star Wars stuff happened. This is, his adventures before then. So you've got a different actor, but you've got a lot of the characters. You've got Chewie is there. Mm-hmm. You've got Lando Calrissian. Here's what I want to say about the trailer. It is action-packed, and it's got some snarky dialogue.
Yep.
I'm going to see it despite the trailer.
Okay.
Because I think if you have never seen any of the Star Wars stuff, and you saw this trailer, A, you wouldn't know what it was about, and B, you may or may not go to it because it just looks like another action-packed sci-fi thing.
Okay, but the thing is, you just said if you've never seen Star Wars, that describes maybe 1% of the people who will see this trailer.
I understand what you're saying, but I still say that if I don't get it, I just think that a trailer needs to go with the idea that you don't know what the hell is going on, and I'm going to give you a little bit of information.
that doesn't bother me because, you and I watch this, and I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I've seen them, like everyone else in the world has seen them. And, I looked at it and I'm like, oh, it's Han Solo. Oh, it's Chewie. Oh, it's Lando. And I'm kind of like, I'm getting all of these references. Here's my problem with it. My problem is, this is an impossible movie to cast. I don't know whether this young guy who's playing Han Solo is any good or not.
Oh, yeah.
I can't really tell.
You can't tell. You cannot tell from the trailer.
Can't tell. He looks like he's got the, kind of Rico Suave kind of attitude.
He's kind of got the hair.
He's got the hair. He's got the attitude. But this is a prequel, but it's a generation ago from the new movie that Han Solo was just in, where Harrison Ford reprised his role and then got killed off by his own son. Spoiler. Oh, sorry. But this movie takes place right before the events of Star Wars Episode 4, the original Star Wars movie. We know what Han Solo is supposed to look like because we saw him in that movie. He looks like a young Harrison Ford. So the idea, I mean, it's just a weird thing to cast now, to make a prequel of something that happened just before Episode 4, which is a movie that we have. It was made. It's just, that whole thing is just like, why? I don't know why this movie is being made. That's my problem with it. I don't get why we needed to know Han's backstory that we did. We understand it from the movie. We got enough about his character.
Seriously, you want to know why it was being made?
Sure.
Money?
Oh, sure, to make money. But I mean, anything that has a Star Wars story planted on it is going to make money. Rogue One I thought was really interesting because it was a mission that we kind of heard about.
Yes.
We heard that the first Death Star was destroyed. And so,
people died. Many people lost their lives.
And many people died.
Yep.
So we heard about it. If you're a fan of the Star Wars franchise, you know what that Rogue One experience is like, but it didn't involve any of the characters from that.
Right.
And at the very end of Rogue One, they handed Princess Leia some intel, and they CGI'd Carrie Fisher's face on top of this other actress. So for a second, we could go, oh my God, it's Leia. You can't do that with Han Solo for this whole movie.
Oh, but you could. If only you could.
If only you could. But it just for me, it's just an awkward movie to make. You could make a ton of movies about the Star Wars universe that are not connected to this 9-part trilogy and call it blah, blah, a Star Wars story, and that would make money. I don't know why they're making this.
Well, I get it because he was an adventurer, and I get that you have a lot. There are stories that you could do, but I do think you need to go further back than right before the beginning of A New Hope. But, from this trailer, again, I don't know. I don't know that it's connected to anything unless I've seen the other ones, and I go, oh, Lando, oh, Chewie, and stuff like that. So I am going to see this movie because I am a Star Wars fan, despite the trailer. The trailer didn't sell me.
I'm waiting to stream this one at some point later on down the line. So one thumb up on for you. You're going to see it. I'm not.
I'm
going to see this next one.
Are you going to see this?
I'm going to see this next one. I'm
actually really excited. I keep waiting for somebody to be all negative about it. Ocean's 8.
Can't wait.
Sandra Bullock. Cate Blanchett. Who else? Rihanna. Everybody in the dog. Mindy Kaling.
Yeah, Mindy Kaling. I'm Jamie King. Helena Bonham Carter. Sarah Paulson.
Yep.
You mentioned Rihanna. You mentioned Mindy Kaling. James Corden is in it.
Awkwafina.
Yep. Matt Damon apparently has a cameo. He's not in the trailer. Dakota Fanning is in this. Yeah. Great.
Anne Hathaway also.
Anne Hathaway.
She's big.
Who is either the victim or the villain or maybe both.
Correct. We can't really tell from the preview. She's the one wearing the jewels that the Ocean's 8. Basically, Sandra Bullock is, what's-his-face, Ocean's sister.
Yep. Danny Ocean's sister,
Debbie. And she's in the family business. It starts out with her in prison getting on parole, and then she pulls in her best friend. It's kind of like Cate Blanchett, who's the Brad Pitt role. I mean, it's just basically Ocean's 11 with girls.
And fewer, because it's only Ocean's 8.
Fewer, because it's only 8, because, but I think to me, it looks very, very enjoyable.
It looks super fun.
It is the same kind of thing. They're going to rob this big necklace.
It's a big heist. This big heist
at the Met Gala off of Anne Hathaway's necklace. And it looks fun.
Yeah.
Everything in the trailer the lines were funny. Everybody looks great.
Yep.
Helena Bonham Carter looks like a mess, but that's who she is. If she looked good, I wouldn't know how to deal with her.
She looks weird, which is
she always looks weird, and that's what she needs to do. But it looks like she fits in well. And Rihanna has some snarkiness going in there. Yep. What's your name? 8 Ball. What's your real name? 8 Ball.
Yep.
It looked well done.
And Sarah Paulson, I love her and everything she does. I'm excited that she can do something that's not the Horror Story franchise.
Yes, I'm happy about that too.
So here's my other thing. So we did a talk last year about remakes, and we talked about Ocean's 11 because Ocean's 11, was the Frank Sinatra vehicle that became the George Clooney vehicle. And in the original Ocean's 11, what was interesting is they didn't get away with it. They didn't get away with the heist.
The Frank Sinatra version, they did not get away with it.
And the people they were stealing were good, decent American people. In Ocean's 11, the remake, they decided to make Andy Garcia, that was the villain of that piece, and he kind of deserved to be robbed.
Totally deserved to be robbed.
He was not a good character, and so he was a good character, well drawn, but bad person.
Not a good guy.
And so we kind of enjoyed watching him being robbed, and they did get away with it. Now, I'm kind of watching this going, I want Sandra Bullock and her crew to get away with this.
You totally, and that's what you know that from the trailer, that you want them to get away with it, and you can't tell whether Anne Hathaway is good or bad.
Yeah.
And I think it's good.
I guess, but I'm hoping, let me just say, I'm going to go see this. I'm totally going to go see it. I'm hoping that there's a reason why we want them to succeed, other than that it would just be really fun to watch them succeed. You know, I kind of hope that there's like an Andy Garcia twist in there where it's like, Anne Hathaway is such a bitch. I just want them to rip that necklace right off her neck. And
there needs to be a reason why they chose her and that necklace over any other person and another piece of jewelry.
Yeah.
You know, there has to be a reason, and I think there will be. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be fun, and the trailer looks adorable. But all those women together, hello.
Last thing I'll say, Sandra Bullock is the perfect person to be the female George Clooney. No one is as charming as he, you know.
She is a female George Clooney, in my opinion. Now, this is the first movie. The other movies we're talking about opened in May. This one opens in June, is scheduled to open in June, as is Hotel Artemis.
Okay, let's get into this.
This is a weird one.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Jodie Foster in a while.
No.
Now, she looks rough. She looks rough.
She does. It's tempting to say time has not been kind to Jodie, but I think she made herself look rough.
No, she made her look rough. She's my age. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, she's got stringy gray hair.
She looks old. She looks really old.
They've aged her, and I feel like the makeup has aged her.
And I think they did it on purpose. Yeah. So basically, it looks like from the trailer that Hotel Artemis is about this hotel that is it's a secret hospital for villains, basically. People on the run, bad guys. Criminals. And so, but you have to have a membership to it so that if you get hurt, that's where you can go to get fixed up and not, have the hospitals report you or whatever.
And Jodie Foster's kind of the nurse Ratchet who runs this criminal hospital.
She runs this hospital.
With an iron fist.
And she's done it for a long time because she, as I said, they've made her look old.
Yeah.
So then, who is the lead guy?
Sterling K. Brown.
Oh, that's right.
From This Is Us.
Yes. So Sterling K. Brown used to be and again, all this is I'm getting from the trailer. Used to be a bad guy, went good, but for some reason he's done something, so he's criminal again. Gets hurt and goes to the hospital. He steals something and he gets shot while he's stealing something.
Yep.
Goes to the Hotel Artemis, secret hospital, but apparently Jeff Goldblum, which surprises us near the end of the trailer, is the really bad guy.
Yep.
And he comes after because Sterling stole this pin or whatever. It's a bunch of jewels.
Performance looks really Goldblum-y. He's very much in his element. He's doing his over-the-top Jeff Goldblum
That's what he does,
thing.
But that's what you do.
But he's really good at it. He's really
very good at it. You see Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, totally.
Just totally.
Same thing.
This is fun. But again, so you have Jodie Foster, Sterling K. Brown, you've got Jeff Goldblum, and there's various other sundry, it looks like, in there.
Charlie Day is in this. Zachary Quinto.
Oh, yeah, him too. He looks like a badass in this one.
You don't see him much in this.
No, but
you just see him at the end. It's like, and he's in this.
He's in it, but he looks rough.
And even IMDb right now is not giving me a character name for him, so no one knows what he does in this movie.
So this is one of those anti-hero kind of things. You're for, everybody's kind of a bad guy, but you're for the ones that are the lesser bad guys, and it could be fun. It could go either way.
I'm going to say I'm intrigued.
Yes.
And I'll likely see what the tomato meter says before I make up my... If everyone hates it, I'm like, I can see how this could go south, but if everyone loves it, I'll say I could see how this could be really good. I'm intrigued.
Right, yeah. No, it could go... I agree. It could go either way. Ocean's 8, Hotel Artemis are both scheduled to open June 8th, as is this last one, before we take a break, A Kid Like Jake.
Ooh, yeah.
Now, this one is intriguing. Do I think I'll see it again? I don't know. I'll probably have you tell me what you thought before I go see it.
I'm intrigued. The title really turned me off.
No, the title's ridiculous.
And then I saw that, although the title fits once you know what it's about.
Yeah, but again, so in the teaser, it's Claire Danes.
Yep.
And
Jim Parsons. This is so different from anything I've seen him in. He's certainly not like Big Bang Theory. No.
And not like the play.
I'm about to go see Jim Parsons in The Boys in the Band.
Right. It's not
Broadway.
like, this is very different from anything I've seen him do in it. And that intrigues me because I don't like to see people get pigeonholed.
Yep.
And I feel like he kind of has. So he and Claire are husband and wife, and they have a child. They have a son.
Yeah. So here's the setup. They want to get their son, or they're considering putting their son into a kind of a ritzy private kindergarten, right?
He's like 4.
He's 4 years old. And Octavia Spencer is yet again playing the nice black lady who's kind of off to the side. Like Octavia needs to do something. She's getting sick of these roles. She said so, and she's really good. But she
comes in to help the white people they can have a good life.
Exactly. So she shows up and she just suggests early on in the trailer, why not, highlight in your application to this private school your son's gender adaptive play. Which means that there are hints that Jake might be on the trans spectrum.
What is he's a boy and he likes to wear dresses. He likes to play with all the princess and fairies.
He likes Disney princesses.
All the stuff that is normally considered girl toys and behavior. Yep. He is all about.
And in their preschool existence, both Octavia Spencer, who is taking care of him during the day, and Claire Danes and Jim Parsons at night, are very much trying to have Jake feel like all of these things are normal. It's just normal. They're not putting a big label on it. They're not making it a big special thing. But this journey of trying to get him into this ritzy school, part of it is a little bit of like, how much do you use this, as a diversity kind of, add-on to say, ooh, wouldn't you look inclusive if you, accepted our trans kid? But Claire Danes especially, and to Jim Parsons, I think, too, to a certain extent, start saying, do we want to label our kid trans? He's 4. He's not identifying as anything other than every once in a while he wants to put in a tutu and he likes to watch Cinderella.
So it's interesting that because you came away from this trailer a little differently than I did. Okay. My takeaway was really it was the parents' journey at trying to figure out whether they label or not. Not because of trying to get him into the school. I know that was part of it, but you see them, they're very close at the beginning.
Yep.
And then near the end of the trailer, they're having some issues because he is kind of blaming her for the girlish behavior on the son's part, saying you buy all these princess videos and all of this, and then you're surprised when people mention, by the way, your son wears a tutu. And she, so there's this, I think that in this day and age, when this is now a subject, this is why I say that I think it might be a significant thing in that it is a movie with big names in it, attached to it, about this issue that I think more and more parents are having to go through.
Yeah, I know a couple parents right now who are, who have kids on the gender spectrum at some level, some of whom have said, I am the other than what I was assigned at birth. Some of whom are just kind of playing around with, they don't subscribe to gender roles, and so they're a little bit more fluid.
And this is not a subject that was talked about 10, 20, and on years ago. That it was just not.
Well, you just told your kid not to do that. That's not for boys.
But the idea of there being any kind of fluidity it didn't exist. That idea didn't exist.
And there were transsexuals, but the idea was you don't know that until you're in your 20s at least. There's no way a little kid could identify that. And so you would just correct your kid's behavior, force them into their gender box, and then let them do their thing a little bit later on.
Exactly. So, anywho, that's what that is. A kid like Jake, it's coming out, as I said, that's scheduled for June 8th, and it might be something to watch. Yeah. It might be. I think that it's really interesting, even if this movie is a bomb or whatever, it's the first one, and I think that there will be more kind of like it.
I'm going to say I will see it. I don't know if I'll see it in the theaters.
Yeah.
I don't know. I maybe, get my hands on a movie pass if I can go see whatever I want to. I might do that. But I'll definitely, once it shows up on streaming, if I haven't seen it yet, or if I can rent it at home, I'll definitely check it out.
All right, we've got more trailers that we're going to critique
when we come back.
about the summer movie trailers. Movies that are coming out. We're not talking about the movies. We're talking about the trailers.
One day, studios will say, oh, we have to get Eric and Stacey to talk about our movie. Let's send them a screener.
Is so amazing. But that hasn't happened.
I have a friend. We both have a friend. Stephanie. who is a member of SAG-AFTRA because she's worked on a couple of film sets. And so Oscar bait screeners she gets every December. So she can watch things at home if she's not going to go to the theater to watch everything. Those are fun. It's just so great. So there's a brand new movie. It's like right there, and you've got the screener, and you just plop it into your DVD player. It's really cool.
It's very she's fancy.
She is. Hi, Steph.
So this one, I'm excited about it, but I think you may be more excited about this one. It is a sequel. There are several sequels that are coming out this year. There are also, I'm going to say this, that there are several movies that come out that feel like sequels, even if they're not. But this is not one of them. This one looks like it's fresh, but it is a sequel. It's The Incredibles 2.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I love The Incredibles so much.
The trailer is everything I want it to be.
Yes.
It is everything. It has everything. It tells me enough of the story, which basically is that the mom is now working and the dad is having to stay at home and watch the kids.
Yeah, so in The Incredibles 1, right, Dad became like a secret superhero and he wasn't telling his family.
Because supers couldn't
do anything. Now, supers still can't really do anything, but there's a publicity campaign to try to change people's minds about that. And so even though she's not sneaking around, she's out in the open, but Holly Hunter's Elastigirl is doing the superhero thing again during the day, and her husband, Mr. Incredible, basically is at home with the kids.
Yes.
And he's like the house husband, and he's not good at it.
He's
and that's
awful
the funny
at
thing.
It, which is what you see. He's literally horrible at it. I mean, not one single kid was happy at dinner time.
No.
But and we see this. We see the interchange between the daughter and the son. We see a little bit more of what's the baby's name?
Baby Jack.
Baby Jack. We see a little bit more. I should know that because he had his own little short movie. We see a little bit more of his powers, which are apparently like
completely
more incredible
destructive
than everybody else's.
Completely destructive. And what I love about this is that, this is a sequel, even though it's 10 years later that we're finally getting the sequel. Baby Jack is still Baby Jack because it's a cartoon, thank God.
Yes.
It's one of those things where it's like a lot of times you make a movie, we'll make a sequel if it's successful. By the time they get around to making a sequel, it's like the time has passed, people. First of all, The Incredibles is Pixar was at its very best when they made it, and so it's so enjoyable. It doesn't feel dated at all.
No, the trailer it's a new story, but it's with characters that we like and that we know. We hear enough of the snarky, funny lines to feel like, oh, this is going to be funny. You talk about fun for the whole family.
Yep.
And then you see a lot of the action stuff.
Yep.
And then they end with
Frozone. Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's hysterical. But right before, they actually end with a comment from he and his wife, which is funny. But before that, the big thing is that Baby Jack explodes.
Yeah. And you get, and Brad Bird is playing Edna again.
Of course.
Edna mode.
Of course.
So Edna's coming back. And the whole time I was watching, I was like, I'm so there. And then halfway through, I was like, well, I hope Edna's back because she was one of the funny. Oh, there she is.
There she is.
Oh, no, looks so great.
It looks really, really fun. So yeah, I'm going to be there.
2 thumbs up on that one. We're both there
for sure. Another one that this is a June one that. We're now in the middle of June. These are the ones that are opening, scheduled to open in the middle of June. This is called Tag. And it's got Jeremy Renner. Is it Isla Fisher?
Isla Fisher.
Who else is in that?
John Hamm.
That's right. Right.
Rashida Jones. Ed Helms.
Right.
Very, very funny.
And it's basically, and they tell you this in the teaser, that for 30 years they've been playing this game of tag.
Yeah. And Hannibal Burgess, who looks like he's got a lot of funny lines in this. He's the lactose intolerant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure he does have a lot of funny lines. Why wouldn't you give them to him?
They're all funny is the thing. Everyone in this movie is funny.
Well, and the idea is that Jeremy Renner's character has never, ever lost a game. He's never been it.
Yeah, okay, so let's go back. They've been playing this game of tag for
30 years.
30 years. Every May. May is tag month, so it doesn't happen all the time.
That's true.
But as soon as May 1st hits, the game is back on. And, and so Jeremy Renner has never, not only does he always win, he's never been tagged. He's like super guy. And so it's just, and apparently, according to this thing, based on a true story, this is about a real group of guys has been doing this for 30 years.
Yeah, okay,
now,
but seriously embellished.
Oh, totally embellished. But the idea that it's even based on a true story. So it says that, and then it goes and shows you some shenanigans, and it comes back and says, we're not kidding.
So the idea is that Jeremy Renner's character wants to retire and stop playing the game.
Yeah, he wants to keep his perfect record.
Correct. And so everybody, this last May, the idea is we're going to get him finally. That's what I'm getting from the trailer itself. Yeah. And then it's just a lot of slapstick, frankly.
It's grown men being really silly. And,
so I don't know if it's the hangover of this summer. I don't know.
Although it doesn't look that depraved.
No, it's more like game night.
Yeah. It looks silly. Yeah. And it looks fun.
It could be. It's one of those that I would, maybe a matinee. I'm not going to spend full, nighttime money on it.
I'm going to tell you what, if I really wanted to see a movie and somebody said, let's go see Tag, I really want to see it, I would go. It might not be my first choice, depending on what's out and what's big and what's hot. But it looks fun, right now, 2018, we just might need to see grown men being silly.
Correct. So we're moving now into July openings.
Got it.
And this is this is Marvel Universe. This is one that I think a lot of people have looked forward to. And again, really good trailer, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yep.
So everybody's reprising their roles. Yep. Michael Douglas and Paul Rudd. I can't believe I couldn't remember his name.
Evangeline Lilly.
Yes.
As Michael Douglas's daughter.
Yes. And she is the Wasp.
Yep. And it says here that Michelle Pfeiffer is in this movie, I think, as her mother. Interesting. I'm looking at IMDb while you're...
That's interesting because, the mother, everybody thought was dead.
Well, she has the same last name, so maybe an aunt. I have no idea.
Okay, that might be interesting. Well, they might... I always thought in the first, in Ant-Man, that I'm like, okay, he lost her, when she went whatever. That means she's not dead. They didn't have a body, so I always felt like... Well,
interestingly, so I'm looking at the IMDb cast list, and Michael Douglas plays Dr. Hank Pym, and Michelle Pfeiffer is listed as Janet Van Dyne. Now, when I read Marvel Comics as a kid, when I was in the 8th grade, Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne were Ant-Man and the Wasp. And so this is the new Ant-Man, which is Scott Lang, which Marvel eventually retired the Ant-Man and had a new one come along. And then Hope Van Dyne, I don't know if she became the Wasp or not. But interesting that they've kind of,
it sounds to me like they've just kind of done a generational thing there.
Yeah.
But, Michelle Pfeiffer is not in the trailer, so I didn't know she was a part of it.
So that'll be a surprise.
But it is basically,
it's on the internet.
Got, more people, bad guys. Paul Rudd's character has gotten into trouble again. And so the stakes are raised even more. And
Hank, who gave him all the tech, has now given his daughter some tech as well. And
so she's the Wasp.
She's the Wasp, and they're going to do this thing
together. And they're going to, fight crime together.
Here's what I'm going to say. I would watch Paul Rudd do anything.
He is America's sweetheart.
Anything. He's one of those folks that, kind of like we did a retrospective of Alan Rickman's career earlier. Not that we want to do nothing but unsung white guys, but he's this person who I don't think he's ever been nominated for an Oscar. But he has done a bunch of different stuff. I find him completely appealing and gorgeous and adorable and cute, but also just really, really earnest, a really good actor. I mean, he's somebody that if you just took a step back and looked at his career overall, there's a lot to admire there. I would see him do anything, and he looks perfectly charming in this as well. Yeah,
I agree 100%. And his timing and delivery of lines is wonderful. You have a funny line that you want. We talked about Ryan Reynolds. Paul can do that too.
Yeah, but these are a little bit more deadpan. They're a little bit more relatable. Whereas Deadpool is like a really funny guy who's just funny. Paul Rudd is funny in his reactions because they're so real.
But also he's not as dark as Deadpool. No. Deadpool is edgy.
Yeah.
And Ant-Man is...
And Deadpool is a comedy, where this is more of an action movie with a couple of quips because they do that.
So it looks really fun, and yes, I very well may see it the opening week now.
Now, I have heard some scientist friends of mine take this way, way too seriously. You think I take things too seriously? Listen to this.
If you're bringing in scientists, they need to back off. It's a movie.
I know. But at one point in the trailer, they take an office building and they shrink it down to the size of a carry-on. And my friends were like, well, according to the laws of physics, it would still be just as heavy as when it was a big office building, so there's no way he could just wheel it into his van.
This is when I stopped talking to that friend. This is when that is the time. People say, I don't know when I need to stop being friends. That is when. That is when you stop being friends with that. So that's happening.
I'm going to see it too. 2 thumbs up.
And that's July. And here's one that's also opening in July. Sorry to bother you.
I had not heard of this movie before you sent me the link and said, hey, we might want to talk about this. It looks hysterically funny. It looks like a new, like this guy might be the new Spike Lee. This guy. It
is, just watching the trailer.
Yep.
You can see, we talk about stylized directing, and this is a stylized directing.
It's a slightly over-the-top comedy, but it's very unique.
It is a unique way. Basically, it's this guy needs a job, gets a job at a call center. And he's African-American.
Yep.
And he's calling people, and they're hanging up on him.
Yep. And Danny Glover's sitting next to him.
Danny Glover is this, old guy next to him who's been doing this for years, and he says, you're going to need to put on your white voice.
And he says, my what?
My what? And
so Danny Glover, gives him, says, here's what a white voice sounds like. And when you hear this voice come out,
it's weird.
It's hilarious.
It's weird. So Danny Glover obviously is lip syncing to possibly the whitest man you've ever heard speak.
I bet that was his real voice. I bet Danny Glover did that.
You're kidding me.
No, I think he did.
Come on, Eric.
I do.
Okay, you're adorable right now. Okay, because no, everybody was dubbed. The white voices were dubbed.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think Danny Glover could probably do a white voice if you asked him to.
Not that white. I think the timbre. The timbre of that voice was higher than his register is. Okay, you know what?
Anyway,
now speaking of science gone ridiculous, we're not going down that road. It doesn't matter. The whole point is that these people can put on this extraordinarily white voice, and suddenly, when our protagonist starts using his white voice when he's calling these people, he's getting sales. But the whole deal is and so there's this social commentary. In the meantime, you've got this really interesting directing technique in that what happens is when he places a call to somebody, suddenly they're in the same room. He and the caller and the callee are in the same room.
Yeah.
And it's that whole, so that you're able to see this byplay between them. It is. I was fascinated. I thought it was a great idea.
It's a way to make telemarketing a lot more cinematic.
It's because it is hard to make people on the phone interesting.
But what I kind of catch where this is going plot wise is that he becomes a super caller. Once he puts on his white voice, he becomes a super. Not only does he sound white, but he's also very persuasive.
Yes.
And he makes a lot of sales. And other people, including Armie Hammer.
Armie Hammer looks like he's the bigwig bad guy.
And he shows up and suddenly they want him to sell all kinds of things that are not really ethical to sell.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, we can't tell from the trailer, but it's going up to where it's bumping up against his morality.
But then his girlfriend is Tessa Thompson, who looks hysterical in this. She's got crazy hair, nutty earrings, and everything. I mean, her costumes are hysterical all by themselves.
It looks like a really fun character.
And it just, and so she's got problems with the fact that he's doing all this, but he's like, this is the first time, because it also shows him being very down in his luck at the very beginning. The very first thing you see in this trailer is he and Tessa Thompson are about to knock boots, and the wall disappears in his bedroom, and it turns out he's living in a garage.
And the garage door wasn't locked down, and it pops open, so the whole neighborhood is
watching him in his bed with his girlfriend, and it's just, so this is a down-on-his-luck kind of guy. But what a funny way to say, oh, by the way, this is a down-on-his-luck kind of guy.
But as I said, this is one of those, and again, we've seen this kind of thing, even if you go far back to Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, where you have to deal with your own ethics versus the power that you have to change things and all of that. That's what this story is. It looks like in a nutshell, but it's done in a very unique way.
Yeah. So the title "Sorry to Bother You" is clearly what you say when you call somebody when you're.
But would you like to?
So this guy Boots Riley is the writer director, and I'm already.
I think we should remember his name. I'm
going to call it from the trailer. This might be someone that we could expect great things from.
I think we should remember his name.
Yeah. And in contrast to some other films that we saw a preview that we're not really going to talk about called Superfly. That's a remake of a blaxploitation movie. And we kind of went, I don't feel comfortable talking about this because it's not anything I really want to see.
It's coming out in June as well.
Yeah.
And it is a remake of the Superfly from back in the 70s. And it feels very much like that. It feels, honestly, I think it
trades
takes
in
place,
some harmful stereotypes.
Yeah, that was my concern. Whereas this one, sorry to bother you, it's not going in that direction.
And yet, I mean, Tessa Thompson's hairdo and clothing, there's certainly parts of black culture that Mr. Riley is making fun of in a gentle, fun kind of way. I mean, I think he's also exploring some stereotypes here, but in a way that's just fun and inventive, and it looks like it's going to be really interesting.
Right, and I'm not, and again, this is from a 2-minute trailer.
Yep.
So we're, but again, from the trailer, it looks really interesting and engaging, and I think I want to see that.
And I just want to mention this name, Lakeith Stanfield is the lead.
Okay.
Also, he looks really funny too.
I think, as I said, I'm very intrigued by it.
Yeah.
So one more, this one opens in August, and it is the one where we're going to talk about semi-in-depth.
Yeah.
It's called Darkest Minds.
Yep.
And
sci-fi dystopian thriller.
Right. This is the closest to a, quote, horror movie that we're talking about in depth. There were a couple that were in our list that are coming out, but this one seemed interesting. I believe the people who did Stranger Things had something to do with this.
Yes.
But what you see at the very beginning, it's kids. It's about your middle and high school generation, those kids. And it feels kind of X-Men-y in that they have special power. Apparently something's happened and all the kids have died except for these. And the only kids that have survived are the ones that have weird powers. So the government is is like, please hand over your children for the safety of you and your children. Yep. And so these are the kids that escape.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to #resist.
Yes. And they're trying to get in control of their powers and figure out a way to save the world in a nutshell is what I'm seeing. And I think that it's important that it's just the fact that it exists, in that I think the timing, and I've said this before, what we see on the screen, whether it's the little screen or the big screen, is usually, stuff like this is indicative of what's going on in real life.
Mm-hmm. Or you just got lucky. Because I think this movie was probably green-lighted before Parkland. But what this said to me was, oh my God, the children are our future, and here they're leading this resistance.
I agree. No, I agree it had to be made before all of that. At the same time, you have this generation that has been growing as far as being vocal.
Yeah.
So I do think the timing is good, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But I also, I think that's because it was out there. I think it was already the idea that the older people aren't getting shit done, so it's going to have to be this generation is out there.
So I'll say that these writers and these filmmakers were paying attention in a very savvy kind of way, and they kind of got lucky in terms of current events turning the way that they did is going to make this very timely.
I think it could be a hit.
Especially now when we're like trying to register all these young voters for the midterms and everyone's trying to get more politically involved. And here we have this revolution being led by kids. One thing that I think is really interesting that I want to share, the director of this movie is a woman named Jennifer Ya Nelson, whose previous directing credits were Kung Fu Panda 2 and 3. So this is her first live-action film, and most of her credits on IMDb were being in the animation department for all of these cartoons.
Well, that's really interesting because I will tell you, in the teaser, it looks really the shots that I saw look good. I mean, it looks like it's going to be a fun kind of dark, and again, it's that dystopian, dark kind of. And again, because it's this 2-minute trailer, you can't really tell exactly everything that's going on.
No.
But you can get a feel for it.
Yep.
And it does feel like this is, a kids' empowerment, kind of a updated Goonies, if you will.
But it looks like something that's not necessarily just for kids. It's a big old
not at all.
Movie.
Not at all. Yeah.
It looked a little New Mutants-y, which the New Mutants aren't coming out until next. That's a Marvel franchise that looks like where Deadpool goes to comedy, the New Mutants are kind of going towards horror.
Yes, I did see some of that stuff.
But based on one of the Stan Lee kind of Marvel franchises, this looks very similar to that.
But not as horror.
But not as horror-ish. Yeah, it's dystopian, so it's kind of, little Hunger Games-ish in a way. But I have to say, I'm like racking my brain trying to think of another prominent Asian American female director.
Oh, I don't know one.
And I can't. Well, we have one now.
Yeah, we do.
Here you go.
I hope this works because I will tell you, I felt like the trailer was very intriguing. Okay, we're going to talk about stuff that we're not going to talk about in a minute.
That makes no sense.
Make any sense, but I will tell you the idea is there's stuff coming out, but we're not going to take the time to talk about them
in depth. We're gonna be very pithy,
very very quick on this.
Practice brevity and wit.
So something that's opening like really soon is called Show Dogs, and it's by the same people who did, what was it, Hotel Chihuahua? What was that?
Beverly Hills Chihuahua. As soon as I saw that, I'm like,
I know. So you got Will Arnett and dogs and cats and whatnot talk to people. So it's
and solve crimes,
right? And here's what did you have to say? I
said, skip this altogether and go see Wes Anderson's Isle of Dogs instead. It came out in the spring. It'll be streaming soon. It was what this wants to be, but so good and really fun. And your comment was?
My comment was Stanley Tucci is a whore. He's in there as a voice of some kind of...
because he'll do anything.
Pekingese or something. I don't know. It's hysterical. So then there was another one that we didn't hate. It's called Hearts Beat Loud. And it's...
Nick Offerman.
And he's a dad, and he has a daughter, and he wants to try to make a band with her.
Well, he can't really afford school. That's the thing.
Right.
She's been accepted into UCLA, but they can't afford it. And they do little jam sessions together.
Right.
And at one point, he recorded one of their jam sessions and produced it to the nines and put it out there. And suddenly his coffee shop lady is listening to it on Spotify, and now they have a band.
It looks like it's a small movie. It's not a big movie at all, but it looks very heartwarming and sweet. And it's what we kind of said. It's a feel-good movie, but it's not good enough really for us to... I may not see it in the theater.
But you know what? I will say that the trailer for Lady Bird also did not excite me when it came out, and it was a huge hit, and I thought, well, I need to go see this now, and it was wonderful. It could very well be that. Yeah. I have no idea, but it looked good.
Another one coming out in June is Heredity with Toni Collette,
who also has a cameo in Hearts Beat Loud.
She does. Speaking of
so Tony's getting around too, not quite as much as Josh Brolin.
This is a horror movie.
Yeah,
straight up. Old woman dies, and then it looks like she haunts her children and grandchildren
and
or something like that.
Them and others.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We're calling it Grandma from Hell. And we pass.
Yeah, I mean, if it can make a circus clown scary, I guess Grandma can be scary too. Here we go.
We mentioned that Superfly is coming out, and it looks like it's got a good cast, and it looks like the production value is really high on it. My problem with it felt very 70s. It's like I don't know that if you're bringing something new to the table in the 21st century that was there. In the 70s, the Superfly was blaxploitation, which is not really a positive connotation to it.
No, and yet they were movies made by and about black people, but the 70s blaxploitation, and I always think of Pam Grier and Foxy Brown, they had a sense of humor about them. This did not look like it had a whole lot of humor. It looked like it had a lot of
Sometimes
greed
they
and
did.
a lot of
If you
violence.
had a lot of white people making your black movies back in the 70s, it didn't necessarily have a lot of. It was blaxploitation in the bad sense, and I'm just a little concerned about this one, so I'll have to wait and see on that.
I'm not going to go see it in the theaters, and I'll have to see what people say.
Yeah. So Jurassic World, the next sequel, Fallen Kingdom, opens.
Jurassic Park Part 19,000.
Here's the thing. What I'm going to say to you, you said go see Isle of Dogs instead of Show Dogs. I say go see Jurassic Park again. This looks like the same kind of story.
Again and again and again.
Yeah, and I just kind of shrugged and went, whatevs. Sicario, another sequel to this is Sicario, Day of the Soldado. It looks like more of the same. If you like Sicario, you'll like this one. Go see it.
Benicio del Toro and a big revenge
and
spree.
a lot of gun, a lot of
somebody
violence.
killed his family, and he's going to kill all of them violently.
Okay. Yeah, we I feel like
let's not file this one under fun for the whole family.
Another sequel, and it's weird. This one is weird just because it's got Denzel Washington, and he doesn't normally do sequels. It's called The Equalizer 2. More of the same of what we just talked about with Sicario. There's revenge stuff.
1?
People got a friend of Denzel's gets killed, and he goes off to revenge. Yeah, he was the Equalizer in the first one. So it's just a but I'm a pass.
Okay.
Another sequel.
Go ahead.
Mamma Mia 2.
I'm going to see this one. I'm going to see it. I need to see Cher step out of an airplane with a blonde wig. That's the only reason I'm going.
It looks like Meryl Streep's character is dead, but her daughter is now pregnant on her own. And so the whole idea is that she's like what her mother was like when her mother was pregnant and on her own. So then we go into flashback.
Lily James from Downton Abbey plays young Meryl Streep.
Mm-hmm. And I don't want, no, I just, my thing is, hashtag FML and why God, why?
So here's my take on Mamma Mia 2. When I first heard that they were making this movie, I kind of thought, do we need Mamma Mia 2? And is there any more ABBA music to plunder here? I mean, it sounded like they got pretty much the whole ABBA Gold soundtrack in the first one, and they started singing this song in the. Well,
there was another best of ABBA Gold 2. There is another album.
Yeah, but
there's a lot of stuff on it. There's stuff they could do. I don't know why you'd want to. I can't.
I just really hope they don't dig out Happy New Year for some reason.
I just want to say, I looked at the trailer and I went,
I looked at the trailer and I was kind of like, until Cher showed up, and I'm like, Cher. So
Cher as Meryl Streep's mother,
which is a weird thing considering that Cher got her.
They're the same damn age.
Silkwood. Remember, Cher and Meryl were roommates.
They're
in
the
Silkwood.
same age.
Yeah,
it's not right. It's not right. I don't care how blonde she is. It's not right. So, and of course, apparently, we've got more sequel. Mission Impossible Fallout also coming up in July.
Okay.
I'll be honest. It needs to be the last one. We need to be done with this.
Okay. Yeah, even the theme music sounded almost parody of itself.
But when you see, here's the thing. So this is the trailer. So you're going to try to, if you're creating the trailer for the movie, make everything look as beautiful and pretty and alive and alert as you can. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Everybody, Ving Rhames, Tom Cruise especially, he looks tired. He looks tired and haggard.
You know who doesn't look tired and haggard is Henry Cavill.
Well, no, he's not as old as everybody else.
Gorgeous, and he's the villain.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. He's got this big old mustache, and I'm like, is this mustache the reason that Superman had such a wonky lip in Justice League?
I do think so.
For this piece of shit?
Oh, yeah.
That's ridiculous.
But everybody looks haggard. I'm sorry, Tom Cruise looks haggard. That's the word, hashtag haggard.
No, he should have shaved for Justice League and then had a fake mustache for this bullshit.
No,
Mission Impossible does not deserve Henry Cavill's real facial hair.
Well, and I just think this needs to be it. This is it, Tom. You look too old. You look haggard. Okay, in August we have Disney's Christopher Robin. It's been much talked about. It's also been much maligned, I think. But
really?
I've heard some stuff. But
I haven't heard anything about it.
The trailer is...
So it's a heartwarming story about a dad. Ewan McGregor plays this dad who's being, his boss, who is Sherlock's
I thought he was
brother.
A.A. Milne.
No. He's Christopher Robin. So it's not... No, he's not A.A. Milne. He's Christopher Robin from
Hook.
the Pooh Story. Yeah, it is
it's like Hook.
He's all grown up now. But now he's got adult troubles. But even though he's got adult troubles, guess who comes to the rescue?
So instead of
Pooh.
Tinkerbell, it is Pooh.
It's Pooh.
That's what this is.
Yeah. This is Hook all done over again.
Oh, okay. I don't know if it still makes me want to go or not, but,
It's just, I think, from if I'm going to read into this at all, it's just to say you're never too old to, be a child and be a child at heart.
Here's what I will say about the trailer, is so that when Pooh starts talking to Ewan McGregor, I'm like, how did you get Sterling Holloway from the grave?
Well, and you don't even see Pooh's face. You hear the voice and you know exactly who it is.
The voice is spectacular.
Yeah.
It is Winnie the Pooh from back in the day.
Yep.
It is wonderful.
Yep. But it's actually a kind of a live animation CGI stuffed teddy bear. Yeah. It's not a cartoon.
No, it's not a cartoon. But the voice is Sterling Holloway, and it was wonderful to hear him.
Yep.
Even though it's not him. But
that's why it's good that Disney owns some of these properties.
Probably not. But it's not enough to get me to go see it until I hear more. I don't know. Okay, so this next one is like the girl buddy movie of the summer, and it's Mila Kunis and
Kate McKinnon.
And it's called The Spy Who Dumped Me. Now, the teaser...
It's a great title.
Okay, well, here's the thing. It's alluding to James Bond. Mm-hmm. And the teaser, it's like it has the credits. Do you remember the James Bond credits? It always had a naked woman in shadow dancing on guns and whatnot. Yep. That's what this has. 2 women walking on guns and stuff, doing things. It is very much an homage to the James Bond credits of Sean Connery and Roger Moore.
Okay.
And so you kind of have to know that in order to get this. And then apparently Mila was dating a guy who was a spy, and for some reason it looks like they have to find him and they're in danger now or whatever, and it's just funny hijinks. Yep. But it's one of those I'd probably wait till it gets to Netflix.
Okay.
It didn't, There are several I have here that we were not able to view the trailer at the time.
Okay.
For one reason or another. But I think they're worth mentioning. They're coming out in August.
Okay.
One is called Searching, and it was called Search at the Sundance Festival. And it is John Cho I believe he's looking for his daughter, but it's shot only on like cell phones and computers and stuff.
Oh, it's like Tangerine.
Could be.
Okay.
And but it got lots of acclaim, but they changed it from Search to Searching is what it is. Spike Lee, Black Klansman. So it's BLACKKK Landsman.
Okay.
And it's based on a true story kind of a black guy who infiltrated the KKK.
Okay.
All right. So that one looks interesting. Crazy Rich Asians, which this one, what I've read about people who have seen it, that it's all Asian cast, mostly production company, and that's one thing. And so it brings a realness to the characterizations.
I feel like this is based on a book. I feel like I've heard of the book Crazy Rich Asians, and people were talking about it, and so this must be the movie.
Okay.
Yeah. And
then the last one is The Happy Time Murders, which is Melissa McCarthy, and it's kind of like a Who Killed Roger Rabbit. Okay. It's going to be her and animated stuff, a detective story kind of thing, and that's coming up in August
interesting.
as well.
Another trailer that I did see, but I don't think it's coming out until later on, that starred Melissa McCarthy, was Can You Ever Forgive Me? And it's a true story about this woman who forged letters from celebrities because she was really good at aping their signatures, and got herself out of debt doing that. And then, of course, the police start kind of on her trail. And it looks interesting. It looks a little darker than typical Melissa McCarthy fare. It's not quite as slapsticky funny.
Okay, that's good. I like to see her in stuff that's not always her running into walls and shit.
Yeah, but it looks interesting and a little bit more dramatic than you're used to seeing her being. But I'm looking forward to that one too. I don't know when it comes out.
So in our blog for this week, we're going to have all of these trailers so that you can view them yourself. It looks like it's a pretty good summer. It's not the greatest summer of movies, I don't think. But it does look like it has something for everyone.
Yeah, I am super excited about Ocean's 8. I'm excited, not super excited, about Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think those are the two that I will definitely be probably, and Deadpool 2. Mm-hmm. I think those are the three I will probably be, if I'm not doing anything that Friday night, I'm at the movie theater watching those movies. The rest are kind of wait and see for me. I'm just, I could be on the fence. I could be talked in or out of a lot of them.
Right.
And then Sorry to Bother You. That just looks new and fresh and exciting. It's the one trailer we looked at that was like, I've not seen this movie before.
I feel like it's the most unique thing.
Yeah.
A lot of everything else. And even the ones like, Solo, a Star Wars story. As I said, I'm going to see that because despite the trailer. So it looks like the same story. Deadpool, as much as I'm going to enjoy it, again, a lot of this stuff is the same old. Mission Impossible,
even The Incredibles, which we're looking forward to. It's the same. We love it because it's the same.
Exactly,
but it's the same.
But Sorry to Bother You feels so unique.
Yeah.
And so I am looking forward to that one as well. So that is a summer preview coming up. It's going to be fun. And we'll certainly have comments about it.
Yep. So get on your shorts and sandals and tank tops and head to the air-conditioned movie theaters and tell us what you think.
Right. And so follow us on Facebook and Twitter and any place you can get your podcast, Spotify, Google, iTunes, wherever. We don't care.
We're there. We're there. We're waiting for you.
Yep.
We're just talking. A couple of podcast whores. Just pick us up whenever you want.
We're the Stanley Tucci of podcasts. That's POPeration. I'm Stacey.
I'm Eric.
You've been listening to POPeration with Eric and Stacey, the podcast that dissects popular culture one bloody organ at a time. Subscribe today on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, and any other podcast listening site or app. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at POPeration Room. Check out our website at POPerationRoom.com for all of the podcasts, our blog, swag, and games. Until next time, when we're back in the scrubs.